What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another episode of Life of Mike. Today we got some exciting stuff going on. As you can see in the background, I just received the new front end and what I believe are the mirrors for the bike. And I just got word from my friend Dave from Just the Other Dave's YouTube channel. Check him out if you haven't already subscribed. He just picked up a really cool bike. We're gonna go check it out tonight. And given that this is sort of a flipper bike project, the CBR 600RR, he's got a set of tires that I believe will fit for my bike. And I'm gonna help him out with some work that he needs on his bike. And who knows, maybe he'll hook me up with a set of tires. We'll see. Anyways, I gotta get the front wheel off my bike. And I've also got the rear wheel, the brand new one, well, not brand new, but the lightly used one that I ordered. It's already in the box, ready to go. We're gonna take that over there, as well as the front wheel. So let's go ahead and jack the bike up and get the wheel off. All right, so I just got to Dave's place, and there is a motorcycle in the kitchen. You want to tell us a little bit about that?
So our buddy Theo, Mike and I used to work with, had this bike for several years now in his garage, and he used to ride it, and he rode his CBR 250 more. It's a Daytona 675, and I've been bugging him for years to ride it or sell it to me, and he's moving, so he sold it to me.
Nice. Yeah, this thing is like pristine. And you said it's only got what, like 7,000 miles on it? Something like that?
7,600 miles.
Thing is brand spanking new. I want it. Whenever Dave's done with it, I'll buy it from him.
All right, I'll make sure to make it good.
All right, well, we're gonna switch over to the garage now to start doing some tire swapping. So I'm gonna maybe set up the tripod and get some time-lapse footage of us trying to figure out how to do a tire change. All right, guys, so I just received a package, and it is my new front suspension, the front forks. So you can see this is in way better shape, these lowers, than what I have going on over here. And these fork seals are just absolutely destroyed. So I was finally able to take some pressure off of them so they're not leaking quite as much. They are still leaking, as you can see, and these things are just drenched. But this set of forks is actually salvageable to whoever the new owner will be, because these tubes are actually in really great shape. They're just dirty. Whereas the tubes on this one are not in as good of shape. Sorry for the popping there. But you can see there's some discoloration here. So I plan to rotate the forks around. So I would like to use this lower triple, but I don't have the tool to remove the spanner nuts up here at the top. So I may just leave the triple that I have on here for now. You can see the paint is bubbled. It's not in the best shape. It looks like it might have even been touched up. But I'll probably leave this just for convenience. It's gonna be hidden by the fairings once everything gets installed. And whoever the future buyer is, I may include these other parts just in case they ever want to spruce things up a little bit further. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to set up the tripod, and I'm going to remove the fork assembly that's on here. And one nice touch that I'm going to do also, you can see this was in really bad shape on my existing fork setup, and also the snap ring here is rusted and the decal is destroyed. This side is not in much better shape. Obviously the adjuster is in better shape, but the rusty snap ring and the sticker are not in good shape. On this set, they're a lot better. You can see the adjuster There's no rash there. Obviously there's some wear marks from where it's been adjusted in the past. You've got a little bit of rust here, and it's obviously bled onto the sticker, the decal. This side, the decal is just cracked a bit. I do have new decals and new snap rings, so I'm going to pull the snap rings off. I'll probably do that once I have the forks on the bike, just so it's easier to work with. So for right now, let's focus on getting those forks off of the CBR and these forks onto it. All right, so as you can see, we got the forks off of the CBR, and you can see that this one is just absolutely covered in fork oil, and just the condition of these forks is really bad. So it's not even worth trying to salvage the lowers, or obviously the fork seals are done. But the tubes themselves, I think, are not in that bad a shape, especially after they get cleaned up. But for now, I am more focused on the new forks here. I want to make sure to remove the writing that the shop put on here, stating that it's for a 2005 CBR 600RR. And I'm debating whether or not to remove this lower triple. I don't think I'm going to. Again, I don't have the spanner. Well, I do have something that came with the bike, and that's this. Although I think this is for the suspension and not for the spanner. So I think I'll resist the temptation to swap out the lower triple. Can always be done later. So let's focus on cleaning up these forks. We'll get them removed from that lower triple, and I'll remove all the text, probably just with a little bit of alcohol, and then we'll get the new forks mounted up. I'll have to look up the torque specs because I don't know them off the top of my head. I may have them in some of the docs I've already printed over there. I'll have to check. But yeah, let's go ahead and get these on the bike. And the forks are back on the bike. Sorry about the snap transition, but I accidentally pressed film instead of time-lapse, and unfortunately I lost the footage of me putting the forks back on. But pretty much the reverse of what we just did, so really not that interesting. All right, I'm really happy with how it came out. Obviously we can see there's a few scuffs. I put this scuff purposely on the inside because I'm thinking the fender will probably mask most of it. And there's also the scuff on this back side here. And my puppy's trying to help me with the build here today. There's also a scuff on this back side that I tried to conceal back here. And there is another scuff on the inside, that I'm concealing right over here. So overall, I'm really happy with the suspension so far. Obviously, I haven't set it on the ground yet, so I haven't seen if these fork seals are even any good, but I'm trying to avoid having to go through the full procedure of doing the fork seals, just since this is sort of a flipper project. I do have the fork seals over there because I was planning to replace them anyways, but hopefully we don't have to. So anyhow, what can we do now? Well, we can do a lot of things. I actually got my wheel, I got a tire, a better tire on my wheel from Dave, from Just the Other Dave. Unfortunately, we were not being super careful, so I accidentally scratched the side of the rim when we were using his Harbor Freight tire change setup. So I'll probably need to do a little touch up on that wheel, but that wheel has a lot of issues to begin with. There's a lot of oxidation on it and a lot of corrosion. And, you know, I was looking at my own personal bike here, and there's a lot of nicks and scratches on this thing that I haven't even bothered to touch up. So does it really bother me that much? I don't think so. But for now, I want to at least get things mocked up. That wheel is actually coming off, the sprocket, everything, that's being completely removed. I have a new rim in my truck that I'm going to be putting a tire on hopefully tonight or tomorrow with Dave. He's giving me another rear tire, so thank you, Dave. Go subscribe to his channel. I've got the chain and sprocket kit right over there that we will then be able to put on the rear of the bike. But while we're up here in the front, I can put my front rim on, I can put my new front brakes on, and I can put the new clutch cable on. So I think that is what we're gonna focus on for right now. And then later, once we get the rim back from Dave, I'll be able to do the rear sprocket and put the chain on. So let's go ahead and move over to the front wheel and the front brakes. All right, so I got the front wheel on with the new slightly used tire. I got the new forks on. We've got the front brake on, the new master cylinder. This one is a lot cleaner than the one that came off the bike. You can actually see the window for when I put brake fluid in. I still need to do the clutch cable, but yeah, I'm really happy with the progress today. So we can actually get it off the stands now and kind of get it out into the open where it's easier to work on. And yeah, I'm pretty pumped because the next thing we're gonna do after I get the wheel from David's is do the chain and everything. And technically this bike will be rideable. So pretty hyped about that. I've also got a fuel tank or a fuel cap coming in pretty soon. That should be here in the next few days. And we can also do the bar ends. That's kind of like a finishing touch. I'm not sure if I mentioned, I got a set of mirrors today. So yeah, let's see how this goes. As you can see, we've got the rear wheel mounted. I haven't tightened everything down yet. I have torqued the final drive nuts, so they're good to go. But now we can focus on getting the chain mounted, and I'll get my chain tool, get that all situated. I gotta move the gear shifter lever out of the way so we can access that front sprocket tooth. And when we were doing some cleaning when installing the fuel tank, a lot of dust and dirt and grime got down in there, so I think I'm gonna blow that out and try to clean it as best I can. And then we'll go ahead and get the chain mounted. So let's clean first and then mount the chain. All right, so I was able to get the chain mounted up, and this is one of the clip type chains here. Normally I prefer the rivet style, but for this bike, this will have to do. So let's go ahead and get this thing, get this chain aligned and get the slack out of this thing. Obviously that's not gonna work for us, so we'll tension it up a little bit, and we'll put the cover back on, and we should be able to secure our gear shift lever and pretty much tidy up this, this back end of the bike. Front sprocket torqued down according to the spec, and we got the cover placed back on. Everything looks great. So now we can move over to the front and fix the issue we had with this little tab here that is supposed to mount right there. I don't believe it's supposed to hook around like that. I believe that the this brake line is supposed to go through the forks right here. So we'll go. And as you can see, I've got everything rerouted. I just need to torque these guys down to spec. Same with this side. Next thing I can do is install the fuel cap. So let's go ahead and do that. All right, now that looks awesome. That was a perfect fit. We got the brand new gasket going around it straight from Honda, so I'm really happy with how that came out. It's really easy to operate. This comes right out, and I just hope it seals well. I've heard that as long as you're not doing wheelies, it should be okay. So, and even so, we do have the drain hose here, so hopefully that would solve that problem. But anyhow, really like the way this looks. Obviously, there's going to be a tank cover that goes over this, so no worries there. That'll hide all the blemishes from the actual tank itself. And now we are ready to move on to the clutch cable. As you can see, the clutch cable isn't snapped or anything like that, so it's still okay. But I wanted to replace it because if you look in a few spots here, you can see that it's got a few tears in it and it's rusted through. So I would just like to swap it out for that reason alone. So I'm gonna go ahead and remove this and install the new one that I received. So hopefully it's the right length and for the right bike. All right, so after some adjustments and some fine tuning, we've got the new clutch cable installed. You can see it's a nice pull. Got a little bit of free play just so I'm not killing my hand. You can see no more rusted clutch cable here. Got a new zip tie down there. And here is the finished product. So as you can see, clutch cable works great. And this thing is almost ready to hit the street. So I still need to do, I need to bleed the brakes and actually put brake fluid in the front brake, probably bleed the rear brake as well. And I think that's about all that I can do tonight. Pretty excited with the progress. Everything's looking great. And yeah, I think it's time to start picking the colors for this thing. I was debating on just going with the traditional red and black. Obviously, you can see that I like red. I think the traditional red and black Honda would be great for this build. I'm debating whether or not I want to do something more radical, but more than likely I'll play it safe and probably do the red and black. Maybe the red, white, and blue, we'll see. All right, guys, well, that will effectively end today's video. We've got the bike pretty much ready for fairings now, so I've got some homework to do to decide what color I want this thing to be. But thanks again for checking out the channel. Next time you see me, hopefully this thing looks more like a bike, and stay tuned for more episodes. And if you haven't checked out some of my other build series, make sure you check out the RC51, the Buell XB12R, and maybe even the Triumph Restoration mini series that we did. Anyways, thanks for checking out the channel, and we'll see you on the next episode.